Time to talk to Sonia from Bryan Insurance, and today we have got a listener, viewer of our Facebook page question, asking a pretty good one, and I have never thought about insurance trying to cover anything like this.
Right. The question that I guess we can say viewer since we're on Facebook Live now instead of just listener. So,
And we're getting about 400 or 500 hits every time, and that's pretty cool.
yeah, it is cool because I put these recordings on YouTube and I might get 6 listeners. So this is a big bump in people that are listening to us.
Yes.
But the question is, if I have a domestic worker at my house, for example, a personal assistant, gardener, housekeeper, and do I need to buy workers' comp insurance to cover if they get hurt while they're on the job? So that's the question that has been asked of us.
You know, you think about it around your house, the chances of getting hurt around somebody's house to me be greater than they would be at some offices or some jobs.
Sure. I mean, it depends on the type of work, but yes, it is depending on what they're doing, and there's all kinds of hazardous jobs out there, but yeah, it is a good chance that they might get hurt, and so it's a very good question. And as typical, it has more than one answer to it. It is possible to buy workers' comp to cover your domestic employees. I will say that it might be a little difficult to find an insurance company that would write only the domestic workers. If you have a business and you have workers' compensation for your employees in that business, and then you want to add domestic employees, it's not that much money. But if you want to do just your domestic employees, it might be a little higher. But it's possible to buy workers' comp. But there are alternative ways to cover that exposure as well. So you think about, I think of two things as far as if one of your domestic employees drives one of your vehicles, they could get hurt if they're going to pick up your kids, if they're the nanny, if they got to pick up your kids, or even if they drive their own vehicle while they're working for you, they could get hurt. And then the other would be that they could be hurt while they're at your home doing that kind of work. So on the vehicle thing, if you choose to not carry workers' comp, and you let them drive your vehicle, you need to know that you need to get proof of insurance from your employee to make sure that they also have auto insurance, because your vehicle insurance, if you have specific questions, you need to come see us or talk to us, but these are just in general terms. If you give someone permission to drive your vehicle, then your auto insurance covers if they have an accident and cause injury to someone else. And you're responsible because it's your vehicle or because they're working on your behalf. Your personal auto should cover that exposure. However, that employee, if they're liable for the injury, you want to make sure that they have liability coverage too. So your personal auto and your employee's personal auto should take care of that. You need to check on the limits, make sure you have the high limits that you want to have the coverage. Then if they are hurt while they're working for you, the typical homeowner's policy will cover that exposure, but here's the difference in that and workers' comp. You have to be negligent. You have to be liable. If somebody just gets hurt at your house, it's not necessarily your fault. So say that, trying to think of an example, while they're working, they just, they're cleaning and they, bend improperly, hurt their back. That's not your fault. That's just something that happened. So for the homeowner's policy liability limits to kick in, the homeowner has to be negligent. So that's the difference. So you would have coverage if you get sued because that domestic worker got hurt and they're blaming you for it. You would have coverage, and then it would pay if you were found legally liable. Workers' compensation, if they're hurt on the job, they're paid based on the state rules on what people get for workers' compensation, regardless of if it's your fault or not.
What about contract laborers, people that will come in like once a week and mow your grass, or once a week and clean your house, or that sort of thing, that they're not a full-time employee or an employee, but they are at your home working? It's
really the same answer. Whether they're full-time or whether it's one day a week or one day a month, it's really the same. The same rules it doesn't have anything to do with if they're at your residence full-time. If you treat them as an employee versus contract labor, all that, it doesn't really matter. If you have them come and work, the same rules apply whether they're an employee or a contractor.
So the thing is, probably you need to do is just make sure that your homeowner's policy is up to date.
Yes.
To handle those sort of things, because you know, if your homeowner's policy is 20, 30 years old, which could be in some cases, some of these things may not be applied.
That's true, and especially that limit of liability. That's the one that you really need to review, because, you know, yeah, you've got coverage if they sue you and it's your fault, but only up to the limit of liability, and some of those can be pretty low, and you can purchase higher limits very inexpensively, and then an umbrella to go over that if you need to. So.
Wow. So folks need to get information. There's a lot of ways to do it, but you know, if you have folks working for you at your house, the best thing is to give you guys a call.
Yeah, let us go over the options with you and help you get some quotes so that you can see what your options are, and then you can make a more informed decision. And again, I say it every week, you want to know before an accident happens, not after, what kind of insurance coverage you have.
How's the best way to get a hold of y'all?
Well, you can come see us on the second floor of the Sierra Bank building. You can call us 940-549-2525, or you can visit us on the web at www.bryanins.com.
So go check it out. Bryan Insurance, second floor of the Sierra Bank building, and you'll be glad you did. All right, thanks for coming by and discussing with us how to handle employees at your home.
Thank you very much.
That's